as multidimensional beings or spirit embodied beings to learn and develop a harmonious relationship of our inner masculine and the feminine within us is humanity's evolutionary challenge. Sexuality is just one expression in which this confluence of energies distinctly manifests, and also a person's sex or chromosomes and the archetypal energies present in the psyche are not dependent on each other. While our soul understands the depth of the interconnectedness of everything and everybody, but growing up in society, we learn that we need to be careful. We try so hard to be loved and to love, which brings me to my topic of the divine feminine and divine masculine within. And look at what society is calling love these days. Whether it is a relationship or a marriage between man and woman or a same sex, each of us still hold the essence of the masculine and the feminine characteristics in which society's delusional ways in teaching us the representation of love that is subjective, which basically had the outcome of men and women blaming one another for their relationships that ended up in heartbreak. The union of the masculine and the feminine polarities is fundamental in the quantum physics of creation. The two polarities, the magnetic female and the electric male, coming together to form a trinity. This geometry occurs when a planet is being born and when the first two cells of a human being form in the womb and the creation of light. And we need both the feminine and the masculine in equal proportions for creation to occur and to keep all life in balance. There is a new awakening that is taking place, and it's a resurfacing of ancient truths. And in alchemy, emerging of the divine feminine and divine masculine, that religious dogma has intruded for centuries. A divine union relationship is a co-creative partnership of equality. Receptivity is a key quality of the feminine energy, implying that we are receiving something from outside of us. However, the feminine quality of receptivity is actually about deeply receiving our true self. The lack of acknowledgement of the divinity of the feminine has created a state of imbalance that permeates all life. In order for that union to occur, the illusion of separation has to be healed. Our body is the sacred doorway to ecstatic union with the divine. Through a union based on purpose and intention aligned in our hearts, we open ourselves to a higher directive. In today's modern world and society, to embrace any sort of aspect of vulnerability goes against the nature of masculine because it shows signs of weakness. In truth be told, it is understanding what it is to be male and what it is to be female. The divine feminine and the masculine are not seen as energies on the human race spectrum, but on a much more broad level of existence. Our fullest potential is found in weaving and balancing the energies of both. The universal laws of existence understands the yin and the yang flow of life. We were once balanced, but have been trying to get back to that point ever since. And throughout history, the male energy has been harnessed and the feminine energy has been oppressed. The feminine needs to balance the equation again, for mankind can no longer continue with this unrest, unbalance, and disregard for each other. When the divine masculine is harnessed positively, mankind can collectively continue with its progress. But it's a progress comprised of something far greater, logically, harmoniously, peacefully, and more in favour of the planet and its population and inhabitants. And so let's go over the divine feminine. The women, the feminine, the females within us. We are kind, caring, loving, compassionate, loyal. The divine feminine represents the supreme level of feminine expression and manifestation into the universe, compromising the best of the feminine in all of its measure. We are also in a body that is able to produce life and give life and carry life. The divine masculine, born into this world as a protector. The men, the males, The masculines are courageous, they're fearless, and they're loyal. They honor and they respect the feminine. They have strength and they have power. And so, as you can see, the combination of an unhealthy feminine and the masculine is one of mistrust, imbalance, and misunderstanding. It's a power struggle for judgment, lack of support, and ego. We are mirrored these traits every day through the energy demonstrated throughout our relationships with other people. In order to balance both energies, it's self-awareness and recognition of our strengths and weaknesses. Self-awareness in the patterns being presented to us through all of our current and previous partners, recognizing that when we are in the yang energy, if this is serving our need, and is it for our greater good? Recognizing also when we are in the yin energy, if this is serving our need to take action. Tuning in on a regular basis and understanding the need to surrender to all of who we are. And this means total acceptance within the emotional body. It needs to be fully embraced. Surrender being feminine energy and presence being the masculine energy. The equilibrium between them creates the non-duality, the unfilled quantum field, the divine sacred marriage within. And there's also been talk in the collective regarding the event. And so this event is what I had explained in my other video. It is the mass energy shifts that's been occurring, along with a mass awakening that is occurring within humanity's awareness and consciousness. These also included those from the stars, extraterrestrial, the starseeds, to set aside their ascended universal souls, taking on human souls from the great central sun and entering into the earth plane, teaching again the divine way of living life, leaving humanity a true record of resurrection and ascension. That is why, again, the Christ consciousness, it is the mind of the Divine Father, individualized light. The soul is the womb of the Divine Mother, individualized heart, which is love that creates life. These were the final days in which heaven and earth meet one another. This is the beginning of the end of all discord within the civilization of man, opening the way for the civilization of our true glorious nature, the Christ consciousness, to come forth upon this planet, opening the ways for the seventh golden age to be fulfilled. In the past 3 months, we've had the super blue blood moons. We've had the opening of the portals. We've had the Lion's Gate. I've been hearing for the past couple of months now, at random moments, the time is now. Divine intervention. I've also been seeing an upside down triangle. And this is in my dreams and also random moments when I'm awake, just flashing in my head. And so I started embracing my gift and basically did research, realizing that the upside down triangle represented the divine feminine, the divine goddess, embracing the goddess within. And now we've got the retrograde. Mercury is currently in retrograde in Aries, and I happen to be in Aries, and I won't lie, the energies I've been feeling has been absolutely crap. And so, speaking from an evolutionary point, with the goddess and the gods, worship was dominant around the world throughout the Stone, Copper and the Bronze Ages. This was also the age of Leo, Cancer, Gemini and Taurus. In the transition from the Bronze Age to the Iron Age, which was also the shift into the age of Aries. And with the dreams that I've been getting, it's definitely not a coincidence that it is timed with the onset of the Ascension energy and the age of Aquarius that we are now transitioning into. These are the old souls returning back from Atlantis. We are shifting into that awareness, and so the characteristics of those that are experiencing these energies are centered. They're gaining self-awareness, they're experiencing higher consciousness and more purpose and enlightenment, and merging with the source, our pure consciousness, in which we must encompass the energy of both the God and the Goddess within the source. And the source, being without form, also means it is gender neutral, that embodies all of the divine masculine and the divine feminine qualities. And together, the divine and sacred marriage of the masculine and the feminine, which is the energy in the alchemy that can ascend back to the spirit world. And so for those out there who are aware of the energies around them, a shout out to you guys, the collective, the soul fam, and to the light workers, the twin flames. We just need to be in our knowing of the energy shifts, whether we are in our energy, whether we are in our twins' energy, knowing that the divine feminine and divine masculine like to switch places. We just shift the focus back on us and go back into work, and whatever we need to purge, we purge it. We know that we are the entrance into the age of Aquarius, but just know again that as incarnated humans, we stand between the earth and the sky as a product of both the mother and the father. The soul, when not in human form, is a being of light and energy, doesn't have a gender, and therefore gender is a construct of incarnation, and each of us carries the archetypes of the divine masculine and the divine feminine within our psyche. It is also a principle of physics that any time two separate energies merge, they create a third and more powerful field of energy, again known as the Trinity. This divine union is a co-creative partnership of equality. And so these are the higher pathways of the mysteries, which were often called the higher pathways of destiny, and one would literally become that path in order to be transformed into that higher sun path. And this is also the path of resurrection and then ascension in an illuminated mystical way, death and rebirth. And in this retrograde, it's all about embracing our shadow self, our true self, and not repeating old cycles. It is clearing those old structures, the old way of thinking, acting, being. The divine had wished to make an equal parcel essence of which all creation exists of, and which itself existed in two distinctive forms within the greater whole of the divine. And so therefore, from the substance of energy of one single soul, two forms, male and female, so that they would enhance one another. Yet at the same time, each would have a little of the other within their being, so that they could understand one another and find a greater degree of equilibrium when they truly became as one again.